Hope you're doing fine.
Yes,
Let
I'm
us.
fine. What about you?
Good, Donna. Happy for you. I'm doing fine as well. There are only 9 participants. Let us wait 5 minutes. See what people are coming. Laura, you seem bored a bit. Yeah. Okay, only 20 people joined. That's not enough. So let us wait a bit more. Ah, that's beneficial for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should give me look at it.
Yep. Okay, hello everyone. Hope you're doing fine. Finally, it's a wonderful weather outside. Wormy after the awful snow and the freezing weather. It's finally good, lovely outside. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you are just getting all the benefits of sun, getting the vitamin D and all that stuff that you need for your both physical and mental health. So today we are going to talk about the phonology, about the expressive means, mainly about the onomatopoeia, consonants, assonance, meter, and rhyme, and rhythm. I hope you know about it from your classes of Kazakh and Russian, where at school we used to do the analysis, um, um, metric analysis mainly. If you remember something as yam, trop, and etc. in Russian classes, I remember it from the Russian classes mainly. This is the same thing, but in English. Right. Okie dokie. Yep, that is what we're going to look at. And oh, I forgot about phonastasia, also a lovely term that we're going to look at. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of poems. I'm not a fan of poems in English mainly. Even in Kazakh and Russian, I'm not the big fan of writers who do write their poems yet. Maybe some of you love the poems, love the poetry. Yeah. Anyone who like it, who love poems and poetry? Yeah.
Wouldn't say like or love, but pretty much enjoy it. Pretty much enjoy reading.
Oh, wow, good. And who are your favorite authors then?
I guess one of them is maybe Robert Frost. Um, it's actually very popular poet in the 19th century, if I'm not mistaken, 18th and 19th century, one of those. And I actually read, I guess, most of his poems.
Oh, wow, that's lovely, lovely. I have to be honest, I don't know that author. Yeah, I will have a look at it. To his poems. The only one whom I know, so I know quite many of them, many of the poetess, but the main prominent for me it's the John Keats, if you remember, the one who wrote a poem Bright Star. And actually there is a music for this poem, and the Bright Star actually become a song. So quite it is a quite a popular one, a popular poetry writer from the 19th century. So he's the only one whom I know and I read with pleasure. The others, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on it. English poetry is something difficult for me, challenging for me, I would say. But I hope many of you enjoy it, yeah, as Laura does. Yuppie. So let's have a look at it. Right. So as we know, we are going to first have a look at the phonemes. We are going to look at the phonetics. So as you probably know, in linguistics, phonetics, it is the study of speech sounds, right? You know, the speech sounds. Okie dokie. So actually, if we have a look at the words as cat and phone, what kind of similarities you can find? Cat and phone. Nice. Cat and phone. Similarities in sound. Do you find any similarities in them?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
So, any similarities in cat and phone? The words cat and phone?
Only one root?
Yeah, كل not really rude, but one. They all consist of both of them, sorry, consist of 3 sounds. Yeah, they have the similar amount of sounds. Cat, phone. F-O-N sound in phone, K-A-T sound in cat. As you may see, even though graphically there is no, let's say, one-to-one correspondence, yeah, in orthographic, they are still similar in terms of phonetics. That is a wonderful thing. All right, so let's talk about phoneme. What is phoneme? Maybe you know, guys, from the classes of grammatic and phonetics. Did you have that one? Academic phonetics, academic grammar. Yeah. We
No.
discussed. Nope, you don't. You didn't. Okay. Anyways, so actually, the phoneme it is like a morpheme, but in the world of sounds. So each individual unit of a sound is called phoneme. For instance, the sound k is a phoneme. So phoneme is the smallest unit in phonetics, as well as the morpheme is the smallest unit in of the word, yeah, in the text. So they're quite similar in that very term in the characteristics. Okay, dokie. And phonology, it is the study of patterns of speech sounds. So phonology looks at the phonemes. That is actually it. The lovely small introduction to the phonology. Right, and we have a term, phonological analysis. So phonological analysis in stylistics is something different than the one we know, the traditional phonological analysis. Remember in the classes of Kazakh, we used to look at the qatang, yang, yeah, and the, and etc. Phonemes, the types of phonemes in Kazakh, or in Russian, if I'm not mistaken, it's like шипящие, гудящие. I don't know. I don't remember Russian, to be honest. Шипящие, гудящие. Does Russian have it?
Here, звонкие, yes.
Звонкие, yeah. Звонкие, глухие, etc. Катам янында, жалам, something like that.
Жвантиншке also. Maybe.
Yeah. It is something like that in our understanding, right? But in stylistics, phonological analysis is something different. So what it is investigating the ways in which the phonetic or sonic properties of a text contribute to the literary experience. Last week, we talked about the literary experience mainly when we discussed formalist stylistics and when we discussed poetics, and that poetics used to be considered by Plato as something very emotional, right? Remember that thing? I hope you guys remember. And what Shkalovsky told, that defamiliarization should make the better quality of literary experience, and etc. So in terms of, can you please, what I got, sorry, can't see. Can you please give examples in English so that I can understand? All right, so I don't really know what is the traditional phonological analysis in stylist, no, in like general English, but it's like dividing the sounds into consonant, into dissonance, looking at the features of the sound, like whether it is softly pronounced or it is some kind of a, I don't know, hardly pronounced. I don't know, to be honest. Sorry, Hadija. I'm not competent in here because I didn't discuss the phonological analysis in its traditional view, unfortunately. So it's mainly it's about dividing and looking at the sounds in terms of its pronunciation, the way it is being pronounced, and how you articulate your muscles in the mouth muscles when you're pronouncing them, like whether it is soft sound or it is hard sound, whether it is consonant or whether it is vowel. So this is the main basic decision actually in the traditional view. But we are going to look at the non-traditional but stylistic view on the phonological analysis. So we will have a look how the some expressive means and expressive devices, let's say phonological foregrounding devices, make the literary experience better for the readers of literature and the texts. So this is about it, how the phonemes, how the sounds contribute to the better experience of the literary pieces. This is all about it. Okay, next thing is the quality, auditory quality of language. This is the very interesting thing actually. Let's just the quality of the auditory quality of language is the kind of what type of a quality that is looking at the some points of the poems. So it tells whether some kind of a poem points in the poems are have the quality itself or not. This is the term that we will be using when looking at the quality, let's say, of the poetry, yeah, or poetry pieces. And I would like to talk about the sound poetry. This is a very interesting thing that has been discussed by Steve McCaffery. He is the poetryist from the UK. Actually, he was born in Sheffield. Anyone knows about the Sheffield? About Sheffield? Yeah, if you ever heard about Sheffield, very industrial, very depressive city in the UK. Yeah. And later, actually, in his life, he moved to Canada, and he became one of the central figures, let's say, in the avant-garde poetry scene. He used to make some kind of a let's say some kind of a novatory he used to use the novatory methods in the poetry, and he highlighted, let's say, foregrounded the sound poetry. So actually the auditory quality of language, it is like the precisely looking at this, looking at the sound. So like, and sound poetry, yeah, itself is it's like a genre in poetry that defined by the fact that it is making this, it privileges the sound. It is putting the sound all at the top of all the other elements in the poetry. Even the thing that the sound poetry is building the poetry. In the sound poetry, the sound is put in the highest level. It is not considering even semantics, it is not considering syntax, it is solely looking at the sounds mainly. So when you read the poetries that are written in the sound poetry genre, you may find no semantic meaning, yeah, and syntactic as well. So we will have a look at the example of the sound poetry by McCaffrey. So as I have mentioned before, so McCaffrey, he was the not a founder, but he is let's say he is the person who foregrounded, let's say, sound poetry. If you have a look at that one here, at the very example, it is written like seen, the herdsman of the night, almost wherever you collect the sounds. I heard sheep, you heard sheep, I see seas, you see seas, you wave hand, I hand a wave to you. Your sea seen, I see seas, I see seas. So as you may see here, there is not much meaning, right? Do you see any meaning in here? Do you find any syntactic, um, let's say cohesive meaning in here?
It's
Yep,
No, it's
meaningless.
not.
yeah, so not that much. Some, it's quite crazy, isn't it? Yeah, yet however, McCaffrey he performed acts of phonetic translation and he called it a Lucifer referential. So what he does here, he is he, let's say, revised poem through the forms of linguistic relation and connotation. That is very interesting. So let's just have a look at the analysis of it. So in his 16, McCaffrey, he plays with 3 homophonic pairings. So what is homophonic? Remember homonyms, the words that are similar, right, in their graphic representation or in their sound, right? So when the words are similar by their sound, they're called homophonic pairings. Homophonic pairs, homophonic pairings. So McCaffrey has homophonic pairings here, yeah, as seen here. Sorry, I hope you can see my screen here, as seen and seen. So they're quite similar in pronunciation, right? The seen. So the interesting thing that if you just hear just listen to the poem by McCaffrey, you may probably do not understand. You may probably not understand, sorry, the meaning of it, because McCaffrey actually wanted to look at the graphical presentation of the poem, not the phonetical presentation. So the seen, it is the first homophonic pairing. The third one is heard. Yep. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Heard, I heard sheep, and heard. They actually being pronounced the same as well, right? And seen, or I see here. I see and I see. They're quite similar, right? So I hope you are understanding what I'm talking now. So it is about this thing. So McCaffrey, like he's using the sounds in order to make a piece of art. So it's very avant-garde. It's something modern. It's something unusual. It's very foregrounding and deviating thing, to be honest, in my opinion. I don't know whether you support my opinion or not. Yeah, for me it's something quite unusual, because I got used to the traditional poetry, where you're like having the meter and you're having the rhythm, whereas here everything is um, everything is circling around the sound, not not the syntax and not the meaning. So this is about it. And one more thing that I would like you to look at is the parallelism, syntactic parallelism that McCaffrey uses here. And that would be lovely if any of you could find out that very parallelism. If any of you could identify that very parallelism, that would be lovely. Can you do it, guys? So there is a syntactic parallelism, and I would like you to find it out.
Like maybe I see things, you see things.
I would say they are like not really the parallelisms. They are not really the syntactic parallelisms, to be honest.
Maybe I heard sheep and you heard sheep.
Also, nope, 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 not really. Anyone? That would be lovely if you. Oh, yeah, sorry. I heard. Sorry. Yep. You were right. You were right. You were right. It's about I heard sheep and I see scenes. So this is it. So sorry, who was that? The last giving the last answer?
Me, Ajan.
Ajan. Okay. Kayıp Ajan. Right.
Mhm.
Thank you very much, Ajan. Yeah, that's it. In the lines 5 to 8. Yeah. We can see the syntactic parallelism. Well done, Ajan, for the analysis. So I heard, I see, and the very interesting thing that in the very last two lines, McCaffrey is like playing again with the grammar, playing with the word class, and he's using that very thing, you wave hand, a wave to you. So wave here is the verb, right? You are like a waving. And in the 8th line, a wave is transforming into the noun. So this is the thing, this is the playing thing that I think it's quite interesting that the author used both verb and noun, and they sound quite the same, and he's like the playing with both grammar and the phonetics. I think that's quite smart and quite bright. Yep. Okie dokie. Right, let's talk about onomatopoeia. Oh, that's a lovely thing. So when we talk about onomatopoeia, so probably many of you know about onomatopoeia from the, again, classes of Kazakh and Russian. It is um, to make it, sorry, to make it short, onomatopoeia is something that is used when you are imitating, like, no, not saying, you are transferring the sounds of nature into the language, yeah, or the sounds of humans, animals, yeah. For instance, when we say the dog barks, yeah, so the word barks actually is the onomatopoeia because it represents, yeah, woof woof as well, yeah. So because they represent the sound that animals pronouncing, yeah. So it's about, it has no meaning itself as a self-standing word, but it is mainly about the sounds that are being produced by the nature or representatives of fauna. Yeah, that's it. So let's have a look at that very strange, let's say, again, I'm using the strange one, the strange poem. So this is the poem by Marinetti, Filippo Tommaso Marinetti. He's an Italian writer. And the very interesting thing that this is also a sound poem, and it was written somewhere between 1912 and 1913, and it was it is actually about experience of Marinetti of being a reporter in the war between Turks and Ottomans, yeah, in the Battle of Adrianople in the Balkan War, yeah. So Marinetti was a reporter there, and he wrote down a poem, sorry, about his own experience, yeah. So as you may see here, cluster of Turks, splash splash to satisfy you, dear Maritza, dazzle long long. So if you actually read those words that are in bold, you won't really understand them. Yeah, will you? I absolutely I was a bit, it was a bit awkward for me to read this one. Yeah, and I don't really want to read it now because um I can't imitate. I'm bad at mimesis. Yeah. So why Marinetti used those words and why they are considered as onomatopoeia? Yeah. Because these sounds actually represent the experience of war, the moments of war. Yeah. So they are like the sounds that are written in words. They are like evoking the experience of the war. It's like making the mimesis of war. Let's put it like that. So remember, mimesis is considered as the imitation, yeah, by Aristotle and Plato. So it is about it. It is the mimesis of war. Sound mimesis of war. That is it. So I don't know. I recommend you to read it actually, especially this ta 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 part. At least it sounds funny, even though the context is quite sad, isn't it? It's about the war. When I think of a war, the I don't know, the tears comes to my eyes. I don't know. It's quite difficult to read if you try to understand the context, try to understand the message of that very poem. That is quite hard, you know. And he, in my opinion, even though it's quite ridiculously written, Marinetti could could do the mimesis of the word through those onomatopoeias, even though they sound quite strange to us. Right, so that is it about the onomatopoeia. So you can have a look at it in your free time. Yeah. Okie dokie. Next. Hey, move right here. So let's talk about alliteration, or as we call it, consonants and assonance. So alliteration, or also as we call it, consonant, it is the pattern. And this pattern is based on consonant sounds only. And it is usually used to refer to adjacent words that is beginning with the same letter. Yeah. For instance, let's have a look at the example. Cameron's cronies cashing in on credit crunch. So what kind of tendency do you guys see here? What kind of tendency did you notice?
All of them begins like with the letter C.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Laura and Madi. So this is about the letter C. So the very interesting thing that McIntyre and Jeffries used this one actually, and they say that this is actually is from the God, how it's called, reklama, advertisement, yeah. advertisement and advertisement by the Public Workers Union in the UK. Public Workers Union, the Proфсоюз, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, in the UK. And you probably remember David Cameron, yeah, the Vice President in the UK. So it's about him. So that very repeated voiceless K, yeah, sound, it is considered as effective in drawing attention to the text. So when you are like reading it, Cameron Cronies crashing in on credit crunch, it is like you are repeating K sound over and over again. And that very sharpness of sounds, yeah, produced by plosive C here or K, it is making the effect, the effect that attracts, the effect that entertains the listeners and the readers. That is very interesting. And also we all have we quite often have the alliteration and consonants in the literary text as well, in poems, or even in the like novels, like in plain text. And that is very interesting thing that is being used, especially in the campaigns of different orators, yeah, politicians. I remember Donald Trump using alliteration also in his speeches, in his speeches where he tries to persuade people. Yeah, so this is quite a widely used pattern that is based on consonant sounds. So that is why it is called consonants. Okay, what about assonance? So assonance is the, let's say it's the antonym to consonants. Assonance is the figure of speech that is based on the coincidence of vowels. So assonance is mainly about vowels. So in assonance, we are not looking at the consonants at all. So I would say that consonants is a kind of a vowel rhyme. And it's not only about vowels, it's also about diphthongs. Okay, let's have a look at the examples that you see. Let me see, could Mirviert Ibrasheva read the first one? Mirviert, hello, could you read the first example by Browning? All right, it seems like she is not listening to the lecture. Yep, Laura, please, thank you.
Okay, how sad and bad and mad it was. I guess here is like the repetition of the vowel sound F, right?
Absolutely, yep, that's true. So as you may see, as Laura has already mentioned, it is about the vowel that is being repeated. Sad in sad, in bad, and in mad. All right, I would like to ask, okay, Aldana, could you please read the second one then?
Yes. The rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. I think it's the sound A.
Okay. Could you highlight, please,
Words?
which word? In which
Okay.
words? Yeah.
Rare, radiant, maiden, and angels. And name.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Lovely analysis. So this is actually it about assonance. Quite easy, isn't it? You will find it out in many poems. Mainly assonance comes in poems, and Jeffries and McIntyre looked at the poem by Doolan. I will attach the readings, and you can read the poem, the whole poem there. Okie dokie, righty right. Okay, what about phanesthesia? So phanesthesia is about sound symbolism, and that is some kind of a vice versa. That is the contradiction to sound poetry. So in phanesthesia, the sounds of the words, they are linked to the meanings of the words, or they can be linked. They may be linked to the meanings of the words that are given, of the sounds. Sorry, sounds of the words that are given. So this similar term, phonestein, was actually proposed by Furs. Yeah, remember the Mr. Furs, whom we looked at previously. So
Yes.
he, well done. Yep, thank you, Aisha. He used this very term in order to describe the way in which the sounds, the particular sounds, or sometimes sound clusters, they appear to be linked with certain meanings. That is about it. So, did I provide? Oh, yeah. So, let's have a look at the phanesthetic fallacy, and probably you will understand what is a phanesthesia through that. So, fallacy, phanesthetic fallacy, is the relationship between the lexical sounds and the meaning is arbitrary. It is showing that the meaning can be arbitrary. So as you may remember, arbitrary is something about being different, right? Okay, so who would be so kind to read A and B examples? My dear, could you please read it for us?
Yes. So she whispered sweet caresses.
Cases? Mm-hmm.
Yes. She whispered sweet caresses. The wasp swarmed crazily.
Okay, guys, do you see here any similarity in sound?
Whispered sweet. Whispered sweet.
Yeah, it is a bit similar, isn't it? It sounds, they actually, both sentences, they describe different narrative events. However, the interesting thing that they use similar sound patterning here. So they sound similar. So even though the meaning is quite arbitrary in both, different, the sound is similar for some reason. Yeah, it was just probably a coincidence. So this is about it, and you can make analysis of how they are similar if you want. Yeah, and mainly it's about the W one. In my opinion, it's about whispered and wasp. Yeah, WW1 as w and w here. Yeah, and here also T and D, somehow they are like being, yeah, being similar in the end. Sweet and swarmed, quite similar. Yep, Aishan, it's something like the being homographs. They're being quite similar in pronunciation. It is about that. Okay, so sorry, I didn't include the examples for phanesthesia. So what Firth meant is that if we have a look at the words as slack, sloppy, slither, and slay, so they are all start from the word S, slack, sloppy, slither, and slay. And the very interesting thing that they are like being similar in sound and they are quite similar in meaning, because all of them, slack, sloppy, slither, and slay, they all carry negative connotations. And this is the reason they are they were, like, let's say, called, they were, sorry, I forgot the word. They were classified, yeah, they were classified as phonosteme. So when you see the words that are having some kind of similarities, both in meaning or both in connotation and sound, or meaning and sound, they can be considered as phonestasic words, and the collection of that word will be called as phonosteme. Yep. So I hope it's quite clear to you. If you have any questions about it, please, we have 3 minutes till the end of the first session. You are welcome to ask about synesthesia. I hope you understood, but if you need additional explanation, you're welcome.
Teacher, for example, I remember from Shakespeare the words starting from GL sound, for example, glaze, glare, or glitter, as I remember. They all kind of, how to say, connected with the eyes, something like eyes. So it is it an example of anesthesia?
Mhm. If sorry, Marjan, I couldn't really hear the whole speech of yours because of the internet connection problems. However, I think I've got that I understood that you mentioned some poem by Shakespeare where the words were starting from the G, yeah, from the G letter, and they were having
Yeah,
the same
G
sound,
and
yeah,
L.
G and L, and they had the same topic,
Yeah.
about the eyes. Yeah, it
Yes.
can be considered, those, all of the collection of those words can be considered as phonosteme. So it's a words from the one similar theme, from one similar topic, and they can have the similar connotation or a similar meaning, yeah, and both the similar sounds. That is about it, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions, guys?
Can you please give one more example, if it is possible?
Sorry, Laura, I could not hear you properly.
Can you please give us one more example?
Okay, one more example. Well. Okay. So let's, for instance, the word crash and smash. Yep, crash and smash. So what kind of sounds do they have, of a similar sound do they both have?
Like
Crash
sh,
and smash. Yeah, so
Ash?
they, yeah,
and they kind of means one thing, yes, like smashing or crashing, and we can hear that sh, it means that something is broken. Yes, no?
yep, absolutely. Something is being destroyed. Yeah, well done, my dear. So that ash sound in the very end, both crash and smash, yeah, it's not saying that, I'm not saying that they have to be identical in pronunciation in order to fulfill the phonesthetic law, but they have that similar sound as Maji has highlighted, yeah, ash in the very end, and they have, both of them have similar meaning of destroying something, crashing and smashing. So this is about it, Laura. I hope you understood why we need it.
I got
Why?
thank you.
So why we need it, again, it will be easy to clarify words and learn them. So Iran, actually, it's not really about learning the words. It is about, as in the very beginning, we talked about that. We talked about the analysis, phonological analysis. Why we do analysis? In order to find out, in order to investigate, yeah, the ways in which these phonetic properties of a text help to have a better literary experience. So when you are reading any kind of text, whether it is literary or rhetorical text, speech of Barack Obama that we are actually going to discuss this week, or speech by Donald Trump, they are using some kind of phonological, devices. And we are looking at these terms in order to understand, in order to analyze how these stylistic phonological devices make our reading experience better, and how we can make better texts, not only creative, but also the oral text, in how we can make our speech better through the usage of these of these kind of devices. So if you actually use, for instance, this very anesthesia in your teaching, for instance, when you will be working with little children, when you will be discussing the word smash and crash, probably that will be easier for them to acquire it, right? In that very sense, you can also use it in your teaching because they have the similar sound and they have similar meaning. So this is about it, Ajab. I hope you found the answer well. Okay, guys, we are going to have 10-minute break, and then we will be continue discussing the rhyme and meter and rhythm. Okie dokie, see you in 10 minutes. Okie dokie, righty, righty. Hope you're doing fine, guys. Oh, we have 2 more minutes, sorry. 2 more minutes to relax. Okay, see you in 2 minutes. Alrighty, righty. So, okay, let us continue with it. Okay, is it still recording? Yeah, it's still recording. Good. So, pardon. Okay, so again, we will have a look at the phonesthetic fallacy. So, we looked at the phonesthesia itself, right? So, we understood that it is when the sounds in the words or in the phrases are quite similar, and the both meaning has the same, has some kind of similarity, let's say. So, what about phonesthetic fallacy? It is the thing that Mahdi actually read and demonstrated us when you know. So when you read, yeah, some kind of phrases or words or maybe sentences, and they are actually similar in pronunciation, let's say, in their sounds, but in terms of meaning, they do not have any kind of similarities, any kind of connection. So it's about the meaning, when the meaning is arbitrary, when it's absolutely different. It is about it. So the example here shows it quite demonstratively how, in what kind of, what fallacy actually phonesthetic fallacy is. I think you'll find it well to yourselves. All right, rhyme. Rhyme is the rhyme. I think you know what is rhyme. Рифма, right, in Russian. So rhyme is the repetition of identical or similar sounds, terminal sounds, or similar combination of words or identical combination of words. It is about the similarity. So this is it. Okay. Let's have a look at the example. River and spade. So it says, the river falls and over the walls the coffin of gold, funerals. Can you guys find out the rhyme here? The words that are representing the rhyme.
Falls, walls.
Absolutely. Falls and walls. And this is actually called the end rhyme. Yep. Falls, walls. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to highlight the funerals also. So what is end rhyme? It is, or we also call it conventional rhyme. So it is when the words, let's say, when the rhyme is getting the reader's attention through the conventionality, when they are similar in their pronunciation, and when they are different only in their onset sounds. So as you may see here, end rhyme. The very beginning is different. All, wall, funeral, yeah. But the end, all, alls, and alls, quite the same in sound. Even though there is only one L, yeah, and here and there, two L's, the sound is quite similar. All. Oh, sorry, alls. Falls, walls, funerals. That is about the end rhyme. The words that are helping to make an end rhyme. Okay, the line number 2. Could Shahzada read it for us? She's here.
The second one, yeah. Slide deep in sleep. There is in the closed tomb of the pool. This one is reverse rhyme.
Yep. Deep and
Deep
sleep.
sleep.
And they are considered as the reverse rhyme. So, what is reverse rhyme, you may ask? So, if you have a look at it, it's like it is reversing. What is reversing actually, guys? Do you remember what it is? Do you know what reverse is?
Moving backward. Like that, like turning.
Backwards, yeah, something like that. Yuppie. So it happens here. It's like the rhythmical effect when the rhyme is being reversed in the very beginning. Yeah, slide deep and sleep. Here, if you have a look at it, and in the very end, there is no rhyme that could help to make a whole rhythmic line. That is about it. Okay, and number 12. If Marzia could read it for us, line 12.
Yes, so all they will hear is the fall of hoofs and the distant shake of harness, half rhyme.
So it is the half rhyme. What kind of tendencies do you guys see here in that very line?
all will.
Okay, so let me just analyze it. So if you have a look at the highlighted words in the italic, all they will hear, right? So here, all and double L in all and will, the consonant cluster, they are matching each other. Yeah. Also, fall, all, will, fall, they are the consonants here, all matching. That is the half rhyme. I hope you understand what it is. Okay, easy peasy. All right, any questions regarding the rhymes?
Teacher, I couldn't understand the last one, half rhyme. Can you explain one more time, please?
Okay, so if you have a look at the word with LL, all and will, so they are not, let's say, the final consonants in them. Yep. They are quite similar to each other, all and will. Even though when you pronounce them together, all will, they are not really, let's say, homophonic. They're not similar, completely similar. But because there are consonants, double L and double L, that are similar to each other in sound, they are rhyming somehow. They are not rhyming completely, but they are rhyming. So that is the reason it's a half rhyme. It's not
Alright.
the whole rhyme, but a half rhyme.
Okay, thanks you.
Okay,
Clear.
good. Right. Any other questions? I hope you understood. Okay. Right. How can it be different from the end rhyme? Okay, quite a lovely question. So how it is different from the end rhyme? So if you look at the end rhyme, it is about they're quite similar even though, but if you see here falls, walls, and funerals, when you pronounce them right, each after one after each other, right, you will hear the rhyme. Falls, walls, funerals. You will see the sound, the similar patterns in the sound. However, in half rhyme, you will not hear that one. That it is considered as a rhyme just because of the consonants that are in the end, all and will. So if Ajan, if you could yourself pronounce all and will for us.
Like all and will.
Yeah. So do you see any kind of a full rhyme here? They're not
Like
rhyming much, right? Yeah.
yeah, I see in the first letters like O and we.
Mhm.
But in
So
the end rhyme, it's like falls, walls. They sound quite similar.
yep, that is about it. It is about the, let's say, the beat. Yeah. Falls, walls, funerals. There is a beat. But if you say all will, that is not really full rhyme. That is the reason it is half rhyme. It's the rhyme occurs here just because of the consonants in the end, LL consonants. That is it about it. Okie dokie. Righty. Let's turn to the next one. It is about the rhythm. So when some kind of a pattern is being repeated across a line, it is creating a poetic rhythm. So when you are, for instance, we read this one, right? River and Spade, by, I forgot his name, by Macnice, if I'm not mistaken, the poet Macnice. So the river falls, and over the falls, the coffins of cold funerals slide deep and sleep in the closed tomb of the pool, and yellow waters lave the grave, and pebbles bathe its mortuary. So there is a kind of a rhythm in that very poem. So you may hear the rhythm. So to be honest, rhythm is not much prominent in English poems, but rather they are prominent in Kazakh and Russian ones. I hope you agree with me. Yeah? So English poems are not that rhythmic, as not as much rhythmic as Kazakh and Russian. It's just in my opinion. When the patterns is repeated, when the rhymes are being repeated across the line, yeah, they create the sound creates the rhythm. So I think you know what rhythm is, just as the same as in music. Yeah. So and the basic, the smallest unit of rhythm is known as a foot. So it's not as a foot that we are walking with, but foot as a type of a rhythm, the smallest type of a rhythm. Okie dokie. So by that foods of the rhythm, we are analyzing the meter. So it is the final aspect of sound patterning. Yeah. So when the stylisticians speak of metrical patterning, they're not talking about the lens or something like that. They are referring to the ways in which the lines of the poems are organized into unstressed and stressed syllables. So how they look like for instance, here we have the types of poetic meter. 2-syllable feet, they're lambic, poetic, spondaic, yeah, and 3-syllable, anapaestic, and dactylic. I think you looked at them in your classes of Kazakh and Russian literature. Did you? Didn't you, guys? I hope you did.
Yeah, but it's like a little bit different in Russian language, in Russian literature especially.
Russian, yeah. Okay, so you can have a look at that very table and find out what is the difference between the types of the meters. So lambic, it's when the weak syllable followed by a strong syllable, as in here. So what is weak syllable? Weak is the one that is unstressed, and the strong is the one that is stressed. So weak is being identified by a hyphen, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. It is a hyphen, isn't it? And the stressed one is highlighted by a dash. Okay, so lambic, it is when the one weak syllable and one strong syllable. Trochaic, it is when the first comes the strong and then weak. And the spondaic, it is when both of the syllables are strong. And the 3-syllable feats, anapaestic, is when the 2 weak syllables followed by one strong syllable, whereas the dactylic, it's a vice versa to anapaestic, when one strong syllable is being followed by 2 weak syllables. Righty right. Let's have a look at the example. Here, it is the again the poem, by Macnice, River in Spade. Yep. So it's not really actually this very poem does not maintain the metrical patterning with any kind of a real consistency, but still it has some kind of a regular pattern there. If you
It's
say,
iambic,
if you,
right? Iambic meter, if I'm not mistaken.
yep. So I hope you guys understand it. Yeah. So this is the, yeah, as Laura has mentioned, it's about iambic. Yep. Iambic rhyme. Again, the iambic rhyme. And this one, when two, so this is not one syllable, right? They are two different syllables. And when we have two unstressed, how we call them, unstressed syllables, two different unstressed syllables, we call it offbeat at the start. So it's about the start of the poetic line. If in the very beginning of the poetic line you see two different syllables and both of them are weak, unstressed, it is called offbeat. As you may see, all of them, as Laura mentioned, are iambic ones. So actually this is it. I don't know what to discuss with you. If you have any questions, you are a lot welcome to ask. Any questions, guys? So here is the references. You can look at them. Okay, so actually for the next week, guys, not for the week 10, but for the week 11, the next week seminar, I would like you to choose to pick your own poem in English that you would like to work with, and you should make a sound patterning analysis. So you should do the
It's
same
like the
analysis
same, like
as in
this
here.
one. Okay.
So you have to identify the types of poetic meter. So choose your own favorite poem and please do the metric analysis. It's not for the week 10 seminar, not for this week, but for the following week, for the next week. Yep. Осы аптаға емес, олар келесі аптаға. Okay? One poem and one analysis. Only metric analysis. Yep, only metric analysis. And at the class, you will be working with the onomatopoeias, other stylistic devices, assonances, anesthesias, and etc., etc. But for the start at home, that would be lovely if you do the metric analysis. Okay, guys, any questions that you would like to ask? I am happy to answer. Okie dokie, guys. If you do not have any questions, I would like to let you go, and myself also. I would like to prepare for the seminar morally and physically. Have a lovely day. Those who are, oh, thank you, Laura. Everything is clear. Good.
Teacher, sorry, I have a
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
So
please.
concerning meters, so it's about like weak and strong syllables. So strong syllable, does it mean like the, how it says, ударение? I forgot in English, like
Yeah,
ударение.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, thank you. Clear.
yeah. So the weak ones, the ones that do not have the stress, yeah, and the ones, the strong ones are the stressed one. The weak ones are unstressed. The strong ones, stressed ones. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys, have a lovely day then. Take a good care of yourselves. Bye bye.
Bye.